Hello everyone, this is my teaching memo for session 2. It appears the Red Sox and the Yankees are going down to the wire and they don't play each other again. So they're going to have to win this on their own. It's possible they will meet in the ALCS. That would be nice. The Patriots look like the team that won the Super Bowl last year. I guess Tom Brady is not washed up after all. There is life in the NFL after 40. I wanted to share with all of you a Facebook page I use to keep my former students up to speed with the latest assessment news and just good education articles. You can like the page, it's EDSE 640, and you can click on the link in my teaching memo, and that will take you there. I will show you where it is. Let me get there. There it is. And I don't add stuff all the time, but there are articles that are interesting. This last one on things I wish I knew as a new teacher. I thought that was appropriate for the first month of school. So feel free to go on there, like it if you want. If you don't want to like it, that's fine with me. But it's there. I created it for you, especially when you're done with the course. A little housekeeping. The Assessment Illiteracy AI discussion board is officially closed, and you can no longer comment. There were many of you who waited till the last minute. I can't say many. There were several that waited to the last minute to post, and some of you did not use the readings or my presentation or other quote-unquote relevant information to support your comments. According to the rubric, you need to cite a source in at least 4 of your 5 responses. I want you to use the readings, my presentation, or other relevant information in at least 4 of your posts. Several of you went off topic, which gets others to focus on areas that are not covered in our session or even in our course. So my request to you, or my suggestion to you, is to stay focused. I would also suggest to maximize your learning, search for my comments in the discussion board and take a crack at responding. I may be posing a question, sharing an article to someone specific, but anyone can respond. Several of you took that risk this session, and I applaud you. You can find my posts by searching. So I'm going to go in here and show you how you can find my post by searching. I'm going to go into the discussions. I'm going to click on the discussions link. This is how I like to go in. And if you go in and click on search, type in Mowini and then go, and it should come up with all my posts. So you can see there they are. Wow, that was pretty active. So there's good stuff here, and you can respond, you can reply right to this collection here, and you can see that I have articles I've shared and comments that I've made and questions I've asked. There's my teaching memo post, which several of you took a shot at, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So that's how you can go on and get more out of this course, is to interact with me. I can't interact with all of you. I can't respond to all your initial posts. I try to make responses across all 3 of my sections. As you can see there, I made a lot of posts in that section, and I think it's the same in all of them. So don't be insulted or offended if I don't respond to all the neat things you've done. I try to pick out ones that I think will stimulate the most conversation. So that's it. I forgot to remind everyone last week that you should be filling out your vocabulary in your own words, and there were some words in the last session, like accommodation and modification. That's something that you all should know the difference between. You can, as well as the final baseline survey, and I am going to try to attach, there'll be a link in my teaching memo where you can download the final baseline survey because it's a little different, because you have to, in order to support your comments, you need to make citations from the course. And that's important. You didn't have to do that in the initial one. You have to do that in the final baseline survey. So let me just show you where the vocabulary in your own words is. I have it in the first 4 sessions. So if you go into coursework by session, and I'll just go into the first session. I hope it's there. And go into course materials. It should be the first thing that comes up in handouts. There it is. So right click on that, download it, print it out, or just put it on your Word, make it, open it up as a Word document, and write the definitions down, because I talk about all of them in my videos or in the readings. They'll be in the readings. Either way, you have to write it in your own words. That's a part of a research-based strategy for word study, is instead of getting kids writing definitions out of the dictionary, have them write them in their own words. So that's a little strategy that Dr. Tom is sharing with you and having you do. I believe that's it for housekeeping. Let me talk a little bit about session 1 and 2 assignments. The assessment, as I mentioned, the assessment literacy DB is closed. I will be grading it this week along with your baseline surveys and your initial post. Your initial post, that's just pass fail. I'm just going to make, if you're using correct APA, I won't make any comments. If you're not using correct APA, I will highlight it and tell you to go look in the Purdue OWLS website. You should know, by the time you finish this course, you should be using correct citation format and correct reference format. I don't care about double spacing, using headers, subheaders, title pages. I don't care about that. I just want to make sure you're citing material correctly. You're not putting in the title of the article. Many of you did that. Is assessment literacy faddish or fundamental? That should not go in your article. You just should say Popham 2009. And that's it. Then I can go down and look and see that that's the name of the article in your reference list. So for your information, each discussion board, as well as each double entry journal, there's only 2 double entry journals, but I think there are 4 discussion boards, will increase in weight as the course goes on. The final discussion board is worth 10%, so 10 points out of 100. So this is a grading system that accounts for students using feedback as the course continues. So that makes a lot of sense to me and to a lot of expert educators, expert assessment educators, that your grading system should weight more towards the end as students become familiar with your rubrics and familiar with your feedback and use that feedback. The last 2 sessions discussion boards, the last 2 sessions discussion board was an introductory one where pretty much anything assessment-wise was fair game. Many of you mentioned hot topics such as teaching to the test, using assessments to evaluate teachers, promoting students, the use of formative assessment, and your aversion or support of the large-scale standardized testing process. Notice I'm always using large-scale standardized testing process, because any test, even your teacher-made tests that you give the same way, are standardized. So we need to get that into our heads. So don't just say standardized testings are bad, because then you're talking about your own tests that you created. And some of them probably are bad. But anyway, several of you took the time to share helpful websites. I invite all the pre-K and K teachers or prospective pre-K teachers to visit additional resources. Again, I'll point that out to you. If you go into the left-hand menu and go to additional course material, I believe I have a folder for early childhood assessment, which is right there. So you can see that I have a lot of good stuff in here. Not a lot, but 4 different items that I think you'll find helpful. Okay. Many of you expressed your distaste for large-scale assessments, many because you didn't do well. others because of the class time sacrificed, and still others who felt that they encouraged teaching to the test and produced unnecessary test anxiety. We're going to talk about all those things in session 8, I believe. We do test prep. But we can change all that, and Michelle and Rudolph, in my 20 EDSN 20 section, cited an article by one of my favorite bloggers, and you can click on it in the written version of this teaching memo, by one of my favorite bloggers, Heather Walper Gowan, and how we can make assessments meaningful. It can be found in session 1 course materials, or you can click on it here in the print version of my teaching memo. In section 21, Renee shared how she tries with her 6th grade math students to ferret out what her students know and don't know before giving a unit test. This is a great practice, by the way. So I shared this article, and I'm going to click on it just to show it to you, would be a good idea in any subject. This is a teacher that writes about students control their own learnings, metacognitive approach. It's by Ellen T. Weiser, and she talks about giving a pre-assessment before the test. And you can see how she has examples here, and at the end she also has some handouts, so you can print this out. And there's a primary grade student self-assessment, math quiz reflection, decimal quiz reflection, student self-assessment. So good stuff, and I would encourage all of you to look at it, because we want kids to get 100, everyone to get 100. And if they don't, then this will help us know why, because it's a great pre-assessment. In section 20, Victoria responded to a classmate about having students create their own rubric, which to me is all a part of assessment for quote-unquote learning. Having students be able to describe what a quality product looks like an essay or something to that nature, a journal, along with using exemplars, is a very powerful process. And of course, I use it in my course. So it has to be good. A shout out to Diana, who discovered procon.org. I don't know if she discovered it because I have it somewhere in my course, but she discovered it about large-scale assessment, and I'll click on that, and you'll see that it's, there's pro 1, con 1, so there's a lot of pros and cons here, so you can talk intelligently about large-scale standardized testing. So thank you, Diana, for bringing that to our attention, my attention, and now it's brought to everybody's attention. Many of you mentioned formative assessment, which is, I'm glad, because that's the hot topic, and almost, I know in the EdTPA you have to use formative assessment and show how it altered your teaching, how you used it to change your teaching, and how students used it to modify their learning. So I've added a couple of articles here. So I'm not going to click on them, but they are seminal articles on formative assessment and how powerful it is. The last one by Black, Harrison, Lee, Marshall, and Willem, 2004, mentions 3 issues found with current practice. Of course, and that was 13 years ago. Things are definitely changing, but this is what they found. Assessment methods that teachers use are not effective in promoting good learning. Grading practices tend to emphasize competition rather than personal improvement. We're going to talk about grading practices in this course. Assessment feedback often has a negative impact, particularly on low-achieving students who are led to believe that they lack the ability and so are not able to learn. So I also have articles on giving supportive feedback, and that feedback needs to be supportive. It can't be, I think it was, what was the show? Saturday Night Live, where they had point counterpoint, and they had, so-and-so, you ignorant such and such, which was the epitome of negative feedback, and constructive criticism is an oxymoron. So supportive feedback is what we need to be using. The most commonly used formative assessment, in my experience, and misused, is the exit ticket. And there's a great article and additional resources by Bob Marzano on effective ways to use, and I'll click on that because that is worth reading. He goes into a lot of good ways to use exit tickets and how they can be most effective in increasing achievement. And so that's, again, good stuff from Dr. Tom that will help you in your teaching. Several of you took a stab at my teaching memo post. My wife. It's something current. My wife is struggling with it in the Kingston School District, City School District. The use of common assessments to indicate growth. The school board is looking for something to use, and they're not on the right track. Gabrielle in section 21 mentioned that she was a fourth grade teacher. When she was a fourth grade teacher, they gave the same common assessments 3 times a year. And to me, in order to show growth, you have to give the same assessments. But you have to talk about it to the students before they take it. Hey, this is an assessment of things you're going to learn this year. So they're not frustrated by, I don't know, crap in here, And it's like, it's okay. You're not going to know all this stuff. Just skip it. We want to know what you know coming in, and then we're going to compare that with what you know going out. So kids need to know that so they don't get frustrated. Thank you for talking about that, Gabrielle, and all of those of you who took who took a crack at my teaching memo post. Please don't do that other thing on my teaching memo post. I will be very upset. I will try to highlight a few exemplary posts in the coming teaching memos. Please don't feel ignored if you shared something wonderful and I did not mention it. There are way too many good posts for me to document here. You'd be watching this forever, and it's long enough as it is. All right, let's talk about assignments for session 3. The next session will conclude the 2 units on special education assessment. This week you have a different kind of discussion board. You need to go into one of these 3 websites, Intervention Central, which I think is great, What Works Clearinghouse, or Intervention Hero. Find an academic or behavioral intervention that you might use in your classroom. Most of you are in a classroom, so find one that you can use. You can use your smartphone or computer to record a 3 to 5 minute video. Please don't do longer than 3 to 5 minutes. And do it in your own words. So I would write out a script and I would post that along, and I would attach it along with your video, which is ADA compliance. You'll notice that most of my videos, I'm working on getting all of them, have a transcript of the video. So those of you that may be visually impaired can use a screen reader to read the transcript. Okay. You can either attach the video to your discussion board or upload it to YouTube or TeacherTube, which I would recommend. You can then you need to react to at least five other interventions in a way that tells me you watched the video. I have added a discussion board. I think I've added a rubric under assignments, and okay, stop. If you go into coursework by session and go into session 3, come on. You'll see that that I've added a rubric. I lost my train of thought there. This is a rubric for the assignment I'll get to. This is the favorite intervention video rubric. I think I mentioned it'll be graded with a modified rubric, but that's not true. This is the rubric I'm going to use. So make sure you look at that and understand what a 4 looks like. And respond to at least 5 of your classmates in a way that makes me know you saw it. Make sure your initial post is within the first 4 days if you want an A+ in that category, or within the first 7 days. Now, this is a different session because it doesn't end till September 28th, which is a Thursday. So, but this discussion board is not going to end until October 15th. But to get full credit, you have to get an A, credit for an A, you have to make your initial post by September 28th. So you have a lot of time. It's more than 7 days because I'm not counting the holidays, the 20th, 21st, 22nd. There will be another discussion board opening up next session. So I would recommend that if you don't want any overlap, get it done this session. Make your video, make your response post during this session. I would recommend using Kaltura Space Lite to make a video of your screen. I have created a video that will explain how to add it to Blackboard and I will add this video. You can click on it here in my the print version of my teaching memo, or it'll be in my presentations. There'll be a video for how to add Kaltura Capture Space to your Blackboard and use it to do a screen capture along with your audio and your face. So good stuff. You also have a double entry journal that's going to be due in 2 weeks, 2 sessions. So that's October 15th. You have plenty of time to do it. You're going to annotate chapter 12, and I have in course materials, or in the assignment, I have the double entry journal document. This document here is the template I want you to write on. So download that, right click, save it, or you can open it and save it. But that's the template I want you to use. Here's links to the chapter I want you to annotate. This is a chapter from a recent 2017 textbook, and it's uses the term multi-tiered system of supports, which is a fairly new term. That's why I'm using it. So you can all be exposed to most recent information. So to give you what I expect on, I've included a short assignment on grading the DEJs. I've posted 4 exemplar DEJs. You look at them, you'll get a good idea of what I expect. These are older DEJs. They didn't annotate chapter 12. They annotated Fisher and Fry, which you also should make connections to. So so grade the double entry journals. Don't take a lot of time doing it. It's just a quick assignment, and then go in and make comments to 5 of your classmates, and this will be graded on a modified rubric. It's only 2 categories: initial post, timeliness, and how many posts you made. So that's the only 2 things I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for a lot of quality here. This is for you. So it's important you watch my videos. They don't follow the text specifically, and you can connect to them in your double entry journal. Also look at the feedback that I'm going to give you for your first double entry journal. Now, don't look at the feedback. I haven't given you any feedback yet, so don't worry about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all and getting to meet you more on a personal level by seeing your faces. So you have several weeks to get this done. So we'll have a week off. We have a week off this session, and we have a week off in the next session. So you should have plenty of time to get these done, so you won't feel stressed. All right, that's it. Have a great couple of weeks, and I'll see you on September. Well, I'm gonna make a video probably on September 29th, or it might be on October. What would that be? 1st or 2nd? October 2nd. So that's when you see me next.